Greetings from Uganda. This is my sweet wife, Carol, and this is Jacob speaking. We're with Reaching Africa's Unreached, and I want to take a video here, give you a video tour of what's been happening here at Reaching Africa's Unreached for the past few years. You can see this is the road going to Moyo. In fact, Carol is headed that way now to do some business. And it's about 7 kilometers to Moyo. And I scan around here. And then to the north is where the border is. It's about 1.5 kilometers away, South Sudan border. So we're real close to the border. I think I will just walk along the way here and give you a commentary as I'm going. Over across the road here, we purchased this land just 2 years ago, and you can see the little sign right there. The goal for this land is to have an education center there. First, kind of a tripart education center. It would involve an agricultural technical school, which Emma, our agriculturalist, would head. Then we also would like to have a tutorial for primary and secondary schools, children to be able to come and get extra help. There's a great need for education here, and the classrooms are very, very full, and so we could offer some tutoring, Christ-centered tutoring, and then the third part would be English as a second language. So pray with us about this 3 acres and developing this over here. As you note here, we have the eucalyptus right in the borderline all the way around. That's 3 acres over there. We have the 20 acres here. This is our driveway coming into Reaching Africa's Unreached. And we purchased this land back in 2011. Interestingly, in 2007, I came down this road right here. And little did I know then in 2007 that we'd be living here. Carol and I moved actually in 2013. And so I'm going to go ahead and walk down the driveway here and just kind of let you know what's happening. A lot has happened since we have moved. Actually, we broke ground for the first building in 2011. You can see here on the side we have our agricultural products. Right now, we're close to being ready to harvest the soybeans. And then you see the rows. In the rows, we have grafted mangoes and bananas. And then we have soybeans second crop, second season. And then we typically alternate with rice. And then we also use G-nuts and other food crops as well. The idea being that the agricultural aspect of the ministry would not only supplement the ministry financially, so that donations would need to be just less coming from stateside, but also as a demonstration area primarily for pastors. And so this gives a good opportunity for pastors to come and learn, especially during retreats. We also have times when we have farmers groups. With the refugee situation that's been happening, we have refugee groups coming. World Vision brought 106 trainers that in fact train 25 people themselves. These are farmers, ZOA, Dutch group, several others. We have local farm groups that come as well. So you can see the rice over there, the upland rice. We develop varieties that are best for this area. We test them and we see which is the best for our area here. Vegetable gardens, teach nursery beds. We try to use natural ways of preventing bugs. This is lemongrass here, which is a natural inhibitor for pests. And this is what you see as you're walking in. This was just bush back in 2011 when we first bought it, and by God's grace we've been able to clear everything. And so as we walk in, you get to see some of the structures that God has blessed us with through His people supporting us. This first building that you see is the initial structure. Carol and I moved into this one in 2013 in one of the bedrooms. Since then we've moved to the back where we just finished the mission house, where we have a duplex there. In this big house, we call it now, we have 4 bedrooms for teams to come, a large library, a large kitchen, and there's an eating area around the veranda. You can see over here to this side here, more of our different types of crops. This is the fruit garden right here. Avocado trees. This is a jackfruit tree. Here's a mango tree with a fruit fly trap there. We used to trap the fruit flies. I'm going to walk in quickly so you can get to see where we eat when we have pastor retreats and gatherings. This is the veranda area. And so this is where we eat when we have our retreats and trainings. Right here we put the food right up here in the front area, and then it's a buffet style, and everyone can just sit around the tables here and fellowship and eat together. This is some of the best training times right here. When our teachers come and pastors come, we can sit around here and discuss things. Walking back out now, you look over here to this building. There's the 2 containers that came, one in the latter part of 2013, the second one in 2015. And what I did is I just built a roof over them. And then in between the containers is where we put supplies. It's where we park the tractor. Other things are in between. And in the containers on this right one, I'm going to walk over here and see if we can see in there if it's not too dark. You'll see that we store all our food grains in here. The back is just full of G-nuts, or peanuts we call them in America. A new variety that is resistant to a disease that had been wiping out a lot of them here. And so we're introducing that. Here's the inside of the, I don't know if you can see, it looks to be dark in there. There's a tractor. This container is where we store the Bibles. And this is what we call Lydia's house. We have 12 beds in here for people when they're coming for retreats to be able to stay. And by God's grace, we want to bring another container because the Bibles that we brought in the first 2 containers are almost gone. The study Bibles, which we give out to pastors and leaders, we want to put it right here. Pray with us. I'd like to bring 20,000 either ESV study Bible, Global Study Bibles, or the CSV study Bible, so that we can continue to give those out to pastors, along with other literature from Gospel Coalition, International Outreach, Gospel Tracts, and other books as well. This is our water tank right here. This is Zacchaeus, one of our agricultural co-workers, good faithful brother. This tower right here is 10,000 liters of water. Jesus is Lord, amen. And over in this house over here, the first one, we have 5,000 liters in the attic. And then in this house over here, we have another 5,000. We pump it one time, and it goes up to this 10,000, then gravity fed to the other areas. There's the submersible pump is right here, and this is the borehole, the well. Let me just say something about the Land Cruiser. Those of you that follow us know how much I talk about the Land Cruiser being the main tool outside of the Bible for getting their gospel out, and that is so true. Really rough. You can see how we've been plowing through the mud the last couple days. We need to really get a second one because the conditions make it so I'm constantly doing repairs, and we need really a backup. And by God's grace, we're trusting for other missionaries to join us. So if that touches your heart, talk to me about it. Over here, we have our box gardens, which has been a great tool in teaching our local folks, pastors, imams, and sheikhs that come farmers groups, refugee groups, how to grow vegetables to make money. Emma, our agriculturist, is an expert and God gifted in many ways in growing crops and fruits, vegetables, and he's also a great communicator and teacher, and so he teaches farming as a business in our trainings. This is the newest structure, the mission house. Zacchaeus got some of our bananas right there. These are so good to eat them right off the tree like that. Carol and I moved down here just June of this year, 2019, and the second side over there is, by God's grace, God will send some other folks to join us. We also have room in here. If we get another third couple to come join, we'd have room for them as well. So just scanning around here. Now we're coming to the real deal here, I like to say, the Hall of Tyrannus. This is where we do our trainings. We like to bring pastors in for anywhere from 5 to 10 days. Right now we're partnering with Reaching and Teaching International, and we're also looking to partner with World Hope Bible Institute, using their curriculum and partnering with bringing teachers here. So pray for those organizations. Our goal is to walk out 2 Timothy 2:2, and we call this the Hall of Tyrannus, named after Acts 19:10, which is really a fleshing out of 2 Timothy 2:2, where Paul is in Ephesus and he teaches for 2 years in the Hall of Tyrannus. At the end of those 2 years, it says in verse 10 of chapter 19 that all of Asia, both Jews and Greeks, had heard the word of the Lord, and that happened because of multiplication. And so this is our primary calling at Reaching Africa's Unreached, is to do this, to train others who will train others. I really believe this right here, this quote. So we're walking right into the Hall of Tyrannus now. So you get a view of what goes on in here. There's our multiplication chart over there that we're always stressing. What you learn, you have to teach to others. And then just scanning around inside, you see the scriptures. We have scriptures all over the campus. So whenever there's visitors or that are unbelievers and believers, they get to be encouraged and exhorted as they walk around the campus. And so pray for Reaching Africa's Unreached. Right now we have groups that are going through module trainings that are from North Sudan, South Sudan, and of course Uganda as well. I'm just going to walk around in here. This place has been a blessing. This quote here has meant much to me over the years. William Carey, one of my heroes. We were sent like Jesus was sent. He is sending us. We want to communicate this message from Dr. Lloyd Jones. Another one of my heroes, Adnan Judson. I feel like this quote is something that I need to read over and over again. Read it and let it sink in. So this is the break room that we have here. And so when they come in here, they have these charts, and they can get refreshments during our trainings, because we have them here for 5 to 10 days, and so they need some breaks as well. Out here is the living quarters. We have 40 beds out here, 6 tukulus. Tukulu is the local name for the homes. Typically they have a grass roof on them. And so each one of these tukulus house and keep people sleeping in there. Let me There's Henry and there's Rashid right there. So you can see this is a nice little area for them. And then again, you see the vegetables and the crops that are growing here. Here you see this area back here is looking towards the front again. This is where they like to play football during breaks. Football, or we call it soccer back in America. Right now we're harvesting rice, and so I'm going to take you back so you can see how we're doing that. So we got scriptures here everywhere for the pastors to see. And let us go back in here. You can see again our purpose here. The mangoes are the main thing that we're growing. Soon they will take over and shade everything, and we won't be able to grow anything in between. But the bananas do well in the midst of the mangoes, and then of course in between here the rice does well until we get into a situation where we are with the older trees where there's too much shade. Here you go, you see the Metu Mountains back there. That's one of the places we work. Okay, so here's what we're doing. It's a lot of labor involved here. If you need an exercise plan, you can come here. The rice is put in here. Two of our faithful guys working at it. We got some ladies out in the field cutting, bringing it in. Now the Metu Mountains, let me just say something about that. You see that in the background there. That's where we planted a number of different churches. You've heard me talk about that in the past. We've also been up there putting new wells in. We put a total of 9 wells in areas where they were just getting water out of the streams or holes. And we just recently put a well right here in our neighboring village of Fordia, a great ministry opportunity and tool in preaching the gospel. And so the Metu Mountains are unreached in the way that they're geographically in a place that's very difficult to be. And so no gospel work has basically gone up there because of that. And so God is calling us to go up there and preach, and many people have been getting saved. The challenge, of course, is training disciples and training up shepherds to lead those congregations. So pray with us for that. I'm going to walk back around here again. You can get an idea of just the agricultural aspect. We have a radio program every week based on lawn and garden shows in America. Emma talks on a certain subject for a couple hours each week, and then farmers can call in and ask their questions, proving to be a really good ministry outreach. As John Piper often says, we care about all suffering, especially eternal suffering. And so agriculture is a way that we really feel we can minister to the local community, and in fact it adorns the gospel very well in our agricultural area here. We also, when we have opportunity, we try to do medical things as well. We do appreciate your prayers so much for Reaching Africa's Unreached. We know that God has called us to this place, and we're right set in a geographic place that gives us opportunity to train leaders, not only from our West Nile region of Uganda, but South Sudan, and we're so excited about the opportunities now that we have with North Sudanese. I like to call them refugees twice removed, because most of these men that have been coming for trainings are either from Darfur, Nuba Mountains, or Blue Nile State. And because of persecution, they had to flee their areas. They went to refugee camps in South Sudan, and then when the war broke out in South Sudan, they fled to Uganda, and there in Uganda, many of them were saved, as well as in South Sudan. And these are the men that are coming here for training, and their heart is to go back with the gospel. They have a zeal to go back, and so we get to be a part of training them and sending them back. This here is a shade house, is where we're doing grafting. We're teaching pastors and leaders how to graft to make money that way. Back there you see the little hanging traps. Those are fruit fly traps. We're testing different watermelon varieties to see which one does the best in this area so we can promote it. Here's the west side of the teaching hall. So I hope this little video has been a little bit helpful in giving you a greater picture of the work here that we do. Just walking around a little bit more quickly now, because I know the video is starting to get a bit long. So I hope you're staying with me. I'm grateful for these technology tools that can help us. I'm not the best typer and writer, so this is helpful for me. Carol, on the other hand, is very good at writing and picture taking, and she is such a blessing. I'm so grateful for Carol. I couldn't be here without her, and I'm so grateful to our children, our grandchildren, and their spouses who have given their blessing for us to be here. And we look to be here as long as God will allow us to be here. So here you're getting a scan of the box gardens. We have all these different vegetables, and so when people come, and they come on a daily basis, sometimes one or two at a time from the local area. That could be politicians, local leaders, religious leaders, sheikhs. We just had some high-level sheikhs and imams here last week. This is a real blessing here. Our most recent project kind of tied me up for a while, but we're glad, and we by faith are believing for more people to come join us on a long-term basis. It's ready right here. A 2-bedroom, nice sitting area for someone to come join us. Just scanning around the other side of the house here, so you can see the back side, and I'll finish up here in just a minute. More of the box gardens. So different varieties. Some of you might recognize some of the things that are going on here. Carrots, eggplant, okra. We've got different varieties of onions here. There's the herb garden, which Emma has introduced. You see Emma right over there. Give us a wave, Emma. There's Emma. He's got some. Boy, this stuff is really something that we don't know much about in America. It's called bittergourd, and it's very good. Has very good medicinal practices to it. And so this whole garden is based on that. And pray for the agricultural aspect, because it really, truly, as I said before, adorns the gospel and gives us open doors in many ways with our community. Here we have the marigolds around, and that's for a purpose as well, to help keep the insects out. Walking on the back side, our outside kitchen. Coming on around, we have all kinds of fruit trees, mangoes, avocados here. On this side we have our different bananas. We have basically 3 different kinds. We have the membu, which are the small sweet ones, bogoyas, like we're more familiar about in America, and then we have the matoke, which is the cooking ones. Promoting, so you can see this is Ideal Kitchen Garden. We're trying to implement this idea with our local people and pastors, where they can grow something and go out every day and pick something out of it. I'm going to come around here and show you our outside kitchen. Our workers, our ladies here are some of the best ladies in the area. Come in, they cook. You see, here's our kitchen. Look at, there's posho. I want to show you, this is the posho. This is like the main food right here. At first I didn't really care for it much, but I'm getting to like it more and more. Okay, well, I think I'll wrap it up here. I'm going to walk into the veranda again so you can see. Just some of these final quotes to help encourage you. So when people are here eating, they can read these things as well. I really am always challenged by this William Booth quote right here, as well as this Zinzendorf one. I love to read, and this is something, you know, as I'm in my twilight years, this one has become more real to me. George Whitefield, probably my favorite evangelist outside of the Apostle Paul. Leonard Ravenhill, one of my first mentors, who I'm so grateful for. And so this is the message I want to leave with you. The same message that Jesus gave to Paul, he gives to you and me. He's sending us. He wants us to go. When there's over 2 billion people that do not have access to the gospel, our default system must be we go. And we must have a really strong reason to stay. And if we stay, God calls us to stay, then we need to be a part of doing everything we can to get the gospel out into the world. Here are some of our deliveries. There's some books that were done in Nairobi and the back of this Boda. God bless you. Live so as to be missed when dead.